This show is produced by the Harwood Podcast Network.
Hi, I'm Cindy Harris, and we love making this show available to you free of charge. If you'd like to help us keep it that way, please make a contribution to our Karma Jar. For more information, visit our website. In this episode, I'm going to show you how easy it is to freeze all those wonderful cookies that you bake. I like to use a large freezer bag when I freeze cookies because they're a nice thick plastic and you can just seal them right at the top so it's easy to deal with. And I also like to use the parchment that I baked the cookies on. What I do is I use these as sort of a divider between the cookies. So I just take the paper and I fold it in half and slip it inside the bag. So it fits just like this. And I like to put one layer down on the bottom because it kind of acts as a little stabilizer for the bag. And then I'll take my cookies and place them on top of the parchment. And then I'll take some more of my parchment and make a second layer. Now, depending on how many cookies you have, you could probably get about 3 layers in one of these large bags. And then you just zip it closed like this and put it right in your freezer. Now, if you're going to be baking for an event or a party or the holidays, freezing cookies ahead of time is a great idea because they last for up to 3 months in the freezer. Now, the only thing to remember is that not all cookies are made to be frozen. Things that have delicate fillings don't work out so well, but some of the ones that do work great that you can find on my Cookie Jar podcast are my almond tea cookies. The chewy ginger cookies freeze great, as well as any chocolate chip cookie. The chocolate crackles are great. And you can freeze any of the whoopie pies. And then, of course, any of the shortbread cookies. Now, if you want to roll out cookies, you can either roll out my sugar cookies or the gingerbread cookies. And then if you do decide to decorate them, do make sure that the frosting is set before you put them in the freezer. And then, of course, my grandma's fruitcake cookies freeze great. And my honey oatmeal cookies, any Madelines or the peanut butter cookies, and of course, snickerdoodles, they always freeze up great. Now, when you are ready to use your frozen cookies, here's what I do. I take a bag out of the freezer, just like this, and I set it on the counter and I leave it sealed and everything overnight. Here's why. When you have cookies, there's a little bit of moisture in them from the vanilla and the eggs and any milk or anything that we've used. And when it gets in the freezer, those liquids turn to ice, like little crystals. And so when it defrosts, we don't want to lose that moisture. If I were just to take one of these cookies out of the bag and it's frozen and I put it on the counter, as those ice crystals defrost and become more liquid again, they would immediately evaporate into the air and it will dry out my cookie. This is really a good rule of thumb when you're defrosting any kind of baked good, whether it's bread or cake or anything like that. Leave it in its plastic seal to defrost. That way it won't get all dried out. Now, if you do have any questions for me about freezing cookies, please send me an email. I'll see you next time.